Last week, the Yooka-Laylee Toybox was released, and if for whatever reason you looked at my Twitter account, I don't think more than like 1 in 7/6 of you realize I have a Twitter account because I don't spam it and tell you to follow me. It's just tucked away at the bottom of the video description. You really should follow my Twitter though, so you won't miss any videos, and because occasionally I tweet commentary on things or share random stuff I encounter that amuse me. Like the official Donald Trump coloring book. The world really needed that, as much as it needs a President Trump or Clinton. And by that I mean the second Clinton, though plenty applied to the one who was president. And I was too young during his presidency to be able to have an opinion on that. I just know him for that one thing. Anyway, enough long random digression into post-Cold War politics. Let's get back to my digression about my Twitter. If you saw this tweet, I forgot to close Steam after downloading it and my footage has a frame rate of about 21. So it's of absolutely no use to upload on its own merits. So how about I share some of my impressions and not completely waste 40-some minutes of footage? If you just paused this video and went to my Twitter, you probably saw a tweet complaining about the camera, and this is really the only big problem I have with Yooka-Laylee. The camera is basically your clunky N64 camera, which back then was a hardware limitation, not a design choice, and is not something I'm remotely nostalgic to. With technological advancement, we now see games with very solid cameras. If they have an automatic movement, it is usually smart at moving about to show you the best angle, or many games include a manual camera mode or strictly have a manual camera. There's no reason we need an N64 camera in the year 2017. I am hopeful this will not be an issue in the final game, because why wouldn't they have the stick clicking switched between automatic and manual camera? Or some other option for gamers who don't want to relive the control limitations of their childhood. The issue may also have been worse because Toybox is only available on PC, and PC has certain limitations that consoles with controllers with high-quality analog sticks don't have. There's a huge difference between Super Mario 64 and the DS port thanks to a very responsive analog stick. Just a little practice, and you can move with the clunky camera anticipating its hypersensitive movements. Toybox, I had much of the same issues as Super Mario 64 DS, with a clunky camera and limited movement directions. After carefully centering the camera behind me and running straight ahead and jumping for a tiny platform, the camera would often shift to the side, curving my jump to barely miss the platform. There were times the camera continued to move in such a way to prevent me from adjusting my movement, and I was making a straight jump. I also dealt with many times where I'd zoom the camera out, and it would immediately start zooming back in the second I stopped. Totally stationary. A manual camera is really necessary if the camera is going to revert back the second you leave it alone. This area is also annoying in that it is an unobvious instance of the camera making a 180-degree teleport. That being said, the sky area where the camera locked in place was one of the few times the camera was better than a 64-bit game, because it wasn't swinging around with the tiniest step and fighting your inputs. My only other complaint is that the gravity feels too realistic when you fall in water. In Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, it was a physics puzzle to drop far into water. In Yooka-Laylee, a moderate drop means you have to swim for the surface. Thankfully, the swimming controls are the best I've used in any video game, and swimming is actually fun, and not tedious. You just move the control pad or stick and you go in that direction. You crouch to descend and jump to rise. It is so simple and intuitive, and the camera didn't seem as sensitive. Plus, there's no air meter, which, if this is indicative of the final game, will give them more opportunity to craft well-designed water sections, without having something that just makes you have to disrupt your gameplay to surface. Occasionally. There is a reason they removed the air meter for Jolly Roger Lagoon. That level would have sucked if you had to surface in all areas, and you couldn't have had an underwater boss fight, which wasn't executed perfectly, or actually that well at all, but was still a good idea and has its enjoyable aspects. I also like the jumping. You tail spring and just hold jump and you will automatically go into a hover. Otherwise, it's got that classic rare charm. Well, there we go. 35 minutes of footage wasted. Not that I would have wanted to use more footage because my allergies are acting up today and I could not talk for 40 minutes straight. Or even 10, probably. It's really actually pretty miraculous I made it this long talking without having a lot of trouble.